Welcome back to the channel where we spill the untold stories about Catherine, Princess of Wales, and the royal family. Today, the palace drops a bombshell. An official statement confirms the shocking DNA revelation about Prince Andrew. An insider reveals the royal household is now under immense pressure as Prince William rolls out a sweeping plan to restructure the monarchy. Financial reforms are front and centre, including cutting titles and support for anyone deemed inappropriate. This is not just paperwork, it's a royal shake-up. Prince Andrew is reportedly furious over the latest scandal, and this could change everything about how King Charles and Prince William decide his future role. Everyone is going to be stunned when they see how the top two in line are taking action. Buckingham Palace has made history by officially confirming that Prince Andrew is the father of a child previously unknown to the public. This revelation has sent shockwaves through the British monarchy and caught the attention of people worldwide. The confirmation comes straight from DNA results, irrefutable proof that the Duke of York is indeed the biological father of this long-hidden individual. The announcement is brief but seismic, ending months of speculation and legal pressure while plunging the royal family into a crisis of legitimacy not seen in a generation. For decades, the palace has guarded its secrets meticulously, but this proof shatters that veil, backing a rumour that many dismissed as a tabloid fantasy. With ties to Jeffrey Epstein, who was convicted of sex crimes before his death, and his infamous BBC Newsnight interview in 2019, Andrew's reputation was already in tatters. Now, he's forced to face the public consequences of his actions head-on. For the person at the centre of this revelation, questions about their parentage have haunted them their whole life. And now the world finally knows the truth, one that changes the royal story forever. Now that it's officially confirmed, the individual at the centre of this storm, a private citizen, finally has the answers they've been chasing for years. They never wanted the spotlight, never sought fame. They only wanted to know the truth. Were they really Prince Andrew's child? The identity of this person has been fiercely protected, but sources reveal they only sought confirmation after a lifetime of doubts and questions. The DNA test results? Absolutely undeniable. Mathematically airtight, leaving no room for denial and creating a massive challenge for King Charles III, striking right at the heart of the Windsor dynasty's reputation. Royal experts and historians are scrambling to understand the fallout. This isn't just a family matter, it raises impossible questions about inheritance, titles, and what it even means to be royal in the 21st century. Prince Andrew has already been sidelined, stripped of his military roles and royal patronages, but this public confirmation of a secret child could crush his remaining ties to the institution he was born into. Whispers that once floated in palace corridors and scrolled across the margins of the internet are now a deafening roar. The rumours of a hidden royal child, long dismissed or ignored, have exploded into an unprecedented scandal. For years, fragmented reports hinted at a secret offspring of a high-ranking royal, but now the truth is out, and the consequences are seismic. This revelation doesn't just shake one man, it threatens the very structure of the monarchy, exposing cracks that decades of secrecy couldn't hide. The palace, long the master of silence, now faces a crisis that could redefine royal protocol and public perception forever. For years, this story mostly lived on internet forums and sensational publications, never breaking into mainstream media because no concrete proof existed. Just like countless other royal rumours. But after Prince Andrew faded from the public eye, whispers started to swirl around him, making him the central figure of intrigue. Suspicion grew naturally. His sudden fall from favour, combined with his notorious ties to Jeffrey Epstein and his disastrous BBC Newsnight interview, had already primed the public to believe that more scandals were buried in the shadows. People were ready to accept that hidden controversies might exist. Over the past 2 years, the rumour gained serious traction. Online sleuths began piecing together the puzzle, combing through fuzzy photos from the 1980s, scattered memories of Andrew's Navy social life, and cryptic remarks from former palace staff. Every fragment was examined, timelines were built, and theories began to form. The narrative that emerged tells of a brief, secret affair and a later discreet arrangement to ensure the child would be raised entirely outside the royal family's reach. The story was precise, shocking, and perfectly aligned with decades of half-hidden truths. Eventually, even the mainstream press could no longer ignore the buzz. The online chatter had grown too loud, too detailed, and too credible to dismiss. What started as hushed speculation in corners of the internet had evolved into a scandal impossible to overlook, ready to explode into public view and redefine how people see Prince Andrew and the royal family. Some articles were published carefully, framed as questions rather than bold claims. Titles like "The Duke's Secret History," "A Royal Secret About to Be Revealed," teased the public, hinting at scandal without stating it outright. Even in their tentative tone, these pieces ignited curiosity and speculation. The palace's response? The classic no comment, normally a safe strategy, but in this case it came across as provocative. Many saw it not as dignified silence, but as an unspoken admission that something significant was being hidden. Dr. Anna Whitelock, a leading royal historian, weighed in on the situation. She explained that the monarchy has always been vulnerable to rumours about legitimacy and lineage. After all, this is the foundation of royal authority. But in today's era of social media, the old tactic of never complain, never explain has become a liability. Silence now fuels speculation, letting conjecture evolve into what the public assumes is the truth. About 8 months ago, the story reached a critical turning point. The rumour shifted from online chatter to serious legal pressure. The shadows cleared, and a single, powerful voice emerged. Not through tabloid exposés, but via proper legal channels. Someone officially claimed to be Prince Andrew's biological child, demanding a DNA test to prove it. At the time, this individual's identity was fiercely protected. What had been a whisper had grown into a roar, an undeniable story the palace could no longer ignore. Importantly, this person is not seeking royal titles or a crown. They are searching for a sense of self and answers to a question that has haunted them for years. Sources describe the individual as a professional, respectable and reserved, someone who has never had ties to aristocracy or the royal spotlight. Their emergence into public scrutiny is not for fame or fortune, but for truth and identity, making the revelation all the more compelling and dramatic. This story is a far cry from the scandal-hungry narrative that the public might have expected. Alexander Campbell, 42, an architect based in Edinburgh, built a successful life entirely outside the public eye. Raised by a single mother, he never sought fame, fortune, or royal titles. His quest was deeply personal, the search for the truth about his own identity. For decades, his mother remained elusive about the identity of his father, leaving Alexander with a lingering sense of incompleteness. That changed in her final days. According to court records and insiders, she revealed a secret that would set his life on a new course. In the early 1980s, before Prince Andrew married Sarah Ferguson, she had a brief but significant connection with him. Once she discovered she was pregnant, a discreet agreement was made to guarantee her silence and ensure her son's upbringing would remain far from royal scrutiny, including a small cash settlement. This revelation sparked a journey that was as painful as it was necessary. Alexander's mission became confirming the truth of his mother's claim and finally claiming his own identity. His legal team at Thompson & Finch revealed that Alexander initially attempted to reach the Duke of York privately. Messages, letters, and discreet channels were used, but the response was absolute silence. With no reply forthcoming, his team had no choice but to escalate matters, launching formal legal action to demand verification and a DNA test. Alexander Campbell's pursuit is defined not by spectacle, but by a quiet, relentless determination to uncover the truth. Unlike many who might chase notoriety, he remained professional, reserved, and respectful throughout. His story is not just about bloodlines, it's about the right to know one's origins and assert personal identity in the face of centuries-old secrecy. They filed the lawsuit grounded in a basic human right, the right to know one's own paternity. Someone close to Alexander Campbell emphasized that this was never about ambition. It was about closure. Imagine carrying a massive gap in your life story for over 40 years. He felt a responsibility not only to himself but also to honor the memory of his mother by seeking a definitive answer. The fear of being proven right was almost as intense as the terror of being proven wrong. This pursuit of truth quickly drew the attention of the media, who began digging into every corner of his life. But what they discovered was far from a scandal-filled past. Instead, Alexander Campbell emerged as a man of integrity, respectful, professional, and reserved. Friends and colleagues described him as clever, kind, and thoughtful. The stark contrast between the chaos surrounding his claim and the grounded, respectable man behind it only added weight to his story, making it impossible for the public to ignore. His hesitation to engage with the media only made his motives more credible. This wasn't a quest for fame or fortune. It was a personal journey for truth. Meanwhile, the palace faced a dilemma unlike anything in recent history. The formal DNA request sent to Buckingham Palace created unprecedented pressure on the monarchy. Prince Andrew, already known for damaging controversies and a tarnished public image, now faced a challenge that threatened to escalate even further. The court case wasn't just a legal matter, it was a public reckoning, exposing cracks in a royal institution long shrouded in secrecy. Every move, every silence, and every decision would now be scrutinized like never before. He had essentially been banned from any public-facing role within the royal family. His formal duties were stripped away, and his patronages were cancelled. Under King Charles III, the royal household had been working tirelessly to project a modernized, responsible, and streamlined monarchy. But all that careful effort was now on the line thanks to this DNA allegation. This wasn't a minor financial slip or a misstep during a royal visit. No, it was a scandal that cut to the heart of bloodline, legacy, and betrayal. One wrong move could permanently tarnish the Windsor name. The tension inside the palace was palpable, so intense that it seemed to seep into every corridor. Multiple crisis meetings were convened in a state of near panic, attended by the King, the Prince of Wales, and senior officials from the Lord Chamberlain's office. Every detail, every possible response was analysed. The stakes were enormous. Refusing the DNA test would be interpreted globally as an admission of guilt, a public relations nightmare confirming the worst fears of the public. Yet, agreeing to the test carried its own dangers. It meant surrendering control and confronting a reality that could be catastrophic for the royal image. Every option seemed perilous, and the palace was forced to weigh the consequences with unprecedented scrutiny. The royal family, long masters of secrecy, now faced a situation unlike anything in recent memory. The decision wasn't just about one man. It was about the survival of the institution's credibility, the stability of its public perception, and the very notion of royal integrity. One wrong step, and decades of careful management could unravel in the glare of worldwide scrutiny. Valentine Lowe, a seasoned author and royal reporter, observed that the palace faced a dilemma of unprecedented scale. On one side, the monarchy naturally seeks to shield itself and its members from public scrutiny. On the other, both King Charles III and Prince William fully understood that the institution's survival relies entirely on public trust and confidence. Given Prince Andrew's past controversies, it was critical that the royal family avoid giving the impression that they were interfering with a genuine search for truth. The Duke of York, for his part, was initially unwavering in his refusal, viewing the DNA demand as a violation of his privacy and yet another assault on his already tarnished reputation. However, insiders report that Andrew came under immense pressure from both the king and his legal advisors. They warned that a prolonged legal battle to avoid the test would inflict far more damage, both publicly and institutionally, than simply submitting to it. Every day of delay risked fueling speculation, undermining credibility, and exposing cracks in the monarchy's carefully managed image. Eventually, a resolution was reached. The Duke would comply, but only under the most stringent conditions imaginable. Every detail of the process, from testing protocols to privacy protections, would be controlled to the highest degree. This delicate balance aimed to satisfy the legal and personal demands of the claimant while safeguarding the dignity and secrecy the royal family had long protected. The decision marked a turning point in the saga. It wasn't just about one man taking a test. It symbolized the monarchy's struggle to maintain authority, navigate public opinion, and confront the consequences of a past long shrouded in secrecy. In that tense moment, the palace faced the impossible. uphold tradition while managing a revelation that could reshape the future of the Windsor legacy forever. The entire procedure was handled with the precision and secrecy of a state security operation. Every step, from collection to analysis, was designed to leave no room for doubt or dispute. The goal was simple: create a flawless chain of custody for the DNA samples, ensuring that the results would be indisputable, regardless of what they revealed. Absolute scientific certainty. Inside the laboratory, every detail was controlled. The DNA collection and testing were carried out far from the eyes of global media outlets, in a location chosen for both security and credibility. The Sterling Genetics Institute in Geneva, Switzerland, was selected as the exclusive facility for this historic test. This was no ordinary commercial clinic. It is a world-renowned lab, celebrated for its independence, unmatched reputation, and complete isolation from the British press. The level of discretion was unmatched. From secure transport to airtight protocols in the lab, every precaution was taken to guarantee accuracy while keeping the operation completely under wraps. This wasn't just science. It was a meticulously choreographed process designed to confront a royal secret and deliver the truth, once and for all. The collection of the DNA samples was a meticulously rehearsed and tightly staged operation. An independent medical officer, an attorney from Alexander Campbell's legal team, and Prince Andrew's own legal counsel all served as witnesses during the collection of the Duke's sample, which took place at a royal residence secured with tight protection. Every stage of the process was documented and sealed, leaving no room for error. Alexander Campbell underwent an identical procedure in Edinburgh, following the same strict protocols. Once collected, the sealed samples were transported to Geneva via a secure diplomatic courier, with every movement logged in real time through a detailed chain of custody record. At the Sterling Genetics Institute, the samples were subjected to short tandem repeat STR analysis, the gold standard in paternity testing. STR analysis examines specific sections of DNA defined by repetitive patterns. Each person inherits half of these markers from their mother and half from their father. By comparing the STR markers of a child with those of a potential father, scientists can determine biological relationships with remarkable precision. This wasn't just a test, it was a scientific process engineered to withstand any scrutiny. Every protocol, from secure transport to advanced STR analysis, was designed to produce results that were beyond question. The combination of legal oversight, meticulous documentation, and cutting-edge science ensured that the outcome would be conclusive, leaving the palace and the public with a certainty that had never before been demanded in royal history. According to an independent scientist not involved in the case, a standard paternity test analyzes roughly 21 STR markers. If the suspected father is indeed the biological father, each of the child's paternal markers will match perfectly. When all evaluated markers align, the probability of paternity exceeds 99.99%. In legal and practical terms, this is considered conclusive evidence. The technicians at the Swiss laboratory were bound by strict, legally enforceable non-disclosure agreements. They weren't merely running samples through machines in a sterile, white-walled lab. They were handling a secret capable of altering the course of a nation's royal history. The weight of that responsibility hung heavily in the air. Computers hummed as they analysed the stripped-down genetic code, reduced from centuries of regal mystique to raw, undeniable data. Every calculation, every alignment of markers was performed with meticulous care. Once the initial comparisons were completed and probabilities calculated, a separate team carried out an independent cross-verification of the findings, ensuring nothing was left to chance. This wasn't just science, it was history in the making. Every piece of data, every calculation, and every verification carried the potential to rewrite the narrative of a monarchy long protected by secrecy. Within those antiseptic walls, the fate of reputations, legacies, and centuries-old traditions was quietly determined, one genetic marker at a time. Neither email nor digital upload was used to transmit the final report. Following the strictest protocols, only a single hard copy was produced. It was signed by the director of the laboratory and sealed inside a tamper-proof envelope. Not even a royal proclamation carried as much weight as that envelope, which contained a simple yet earth-shattering set of scientific findings. After its return flight to London, the document was hand-delivered to a select group of royal legal advisors who had been carefully chosen in advance, along with a representative of the court. Inside that envelope lay the fate of Prince Andrew's legacy and a pivotal chapter in the history of the monarchy. The verdict was definitive and staggering. Truth had been revealed, quietly but irrevocably. At St. James's Palace, in a sealed, hushed room, the opening of the Sterling Institute package was a ceremony of unprecedented gravity. Present were the King's private secretary, the Duke of York's lead lawyer, and an impartial official overseeing the process. Every movement was deliberate, every gesture measured. No cameras, no media, just the silent acknowledgement that history was being documented in real time. The air was heavy with anticipation. The envelope, the symbols of secrecy, and the witnesses all underscored the gravity of the moment. What lay inside wasn't just a report. It was a verdict capable of rewriting the narrative of a royal dynasty. And as the seal was finally broken, the quiet room bore witness to a revelation that, while shielded from public eyes, would forever change the story of the House of Windsor. The room was deathly silent as the single paper was read aloud. An insider described the scene as tense beyond measure. The report employed precise clinical and scientific language, delivering the findings with devastating clarity. STR analysis confirmed an unambiguous match between Prince Andrew and Alexander Campbell, producing a staggering 99.999% likelihood of paternity. The confirmation was immediate and absolute. There was no space for doubt, error, or denial. Rumour had become undeniable fact. Mr. Campbell's legal team received the official disclosure, leaving Buckingham Palace less than 24 hours to respond. The expectation of a leak loomed large, and the palace's crisis communications team worked tirelessly through the night to craft a concise, authoritative statement for a situation that had already gone global. The following day at 6 p.m., the statement was released. Though just 2 lines long, its effect was seismic. All parties have received the court-ordered DNA results. The investigation confirms a biological link between the Duke of York and Alexander Campbell. The internet erupted instantly, social media traffic skyrocketed, and biological link became a global trending topic within minutes. News outlets interrupted regular programming to broadcast the royal bombshell. Prince Andrew's secret son had been confirmed. In that moment, decades of secrecy and speculation came crashing into reality. A quiet revelation in a sealed room had detonated worldwide, forever altering the story of the Windsor family, igniting shockwaves from London to the farthest corners of the globe, and cementing Alexander Campbell's identity in history. Massive crowds swarmed outside Buckingham Palace, a mix of curious British citizens and tourists, all buzzing with disbelief and anger. Many voiced their outrage openly. One woman told a BBC reporter, "Every single one of us knew something was hidden. Even after everything, you just felt there was more. The cover-up is the worst part of all of this." The following morning, Prince Andrew's spokesperson issued a statement. It was textbook formal, detached and precise, but it only fueled public unrest. "I accept the findings of the DNA testing recently conducted. Because this is a private issue concerning the family, I will address it privately with all parties involved. No further comments will be made." The reaction was immediate and explosive. The words "private matter" were derided online and in the media. Critics slammed the statement as cold, heartless, and devoid of any human empathy. The public was outraged that he spoke in scientific terms rather than as a father acknowledging the absence in his child's life. Crisis management and PR expert Mark Borkowski described the statement as a catastrophic misjudgment. For the people, this was never about legal jargon or formality. They wanted something far more human. A father, confronted with the undeniable truth, to step forward and admit it. A simple acknowledgement, a human moment of accountability, could have softened the storm. Instead, the measured, distant tone only intensified outrage, making the palace feel disconnected from the emotions of a public that had followed the story for decades, hungry for honesty, empathy, and a glimmer of humanity from a member of the royal family. By retreating behind palace walls and hiding behind legal phrasing, Prince Andrew cemented his reputation as cold, pompous, and disconnected from reality. His legacy lay in ruins, and his future was shrouded in uncertainty. In the days following the DNA confirmation, the repercussions hit hard and fast. Prince Andrew's already battered reputation took its final, devastating blow. Hundreds of thousands signed petitions demanding he be stripped of his sole remaining title, the Dukedom of York. Politicians and prominent figures called for his removal from the line of succession. Inside the royal family, fury and despair ran high. King Charles is reportedly deeply distressed, feeling that his brother's scandal has undermined years of effort to stabilize and modernize the monarchy. Prince William, meanwhile, is said to be incandescent with rage, furious that the revelation has inflicted lasting damage on the institution he is destined to lead. For Alexander Campbell, the confirmation brought quiet vindication. After decades of uncertainty and a lifelong search for truth, the facts had finally been proven. Though the attention was global and intense, Mr. Campbell achieved precisely what he had set out to do: discover the truth of his parentage. His only goal, clarity about his identity, had been realized, leaving him with a sense of personal resolution, even as the world watched the monarchy reel from the shockwaves of this historic revelation. Alexander Campbell and his family are seeking privacy and respect as they process this life-altering revelation. Meanwhile, the world is left wondering what comes next, triggering a crisis of dignity for the monarchy. Lawyers are already dissecting the complex repercussions. Under the Royal Marriages Act and primogeniture laws, Mr. Campbell is not entitled to a royal title nor a place in the line of succession, as he is an illegitimate child. Still, his legal team may have a strong case to claim a portion of Prince Andrew's personal assets. Experts have noted that while the legal questions are intriguing, the moral and institutional implications are far more consequential. Public opinion and moral authority still largely support the monarchy, but this scandal exposes cracks in centuries-old traditions. Modern science has held age-old rules accountable, and in this instance, tradition fails to align with contemporary truth. The scandal has already drawn comparisons to Charles and Diana's divorce and Edward VIII's abdication, yet insiders say it is fundamentally different. This isn't a matter of love or duty. It's a matter of lies, desertion, and the undeniable proof of human flaws. As the dust begins to settle, the royal family faces an unfamiliar and perilous path. Alexander Campbell emerges as a living symbol of a secret the monarchy could not keep. His presence in the family bloodline is now an undeniable reality, one that challenges centuries of perception, secrecy, and control, forever reshaping the Windsor legacy. Prince Andrew, once the Queen's cherished second son, is now a pariah, his legacy forever shadowed by scandal, dishonour, and the son he never knew. The monarchy will endure, but this controversy leaves a permanent mark, proving that even royal blood cannot conceal the truth in today's world. Thank you for watching. If you found this video shocking and eye-opening, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more exclusive royal updates and untold stories. See you next time.